If you don't control your mind, someone or something else will. That's not just a quote. It's the truth most people ignore every day. Your mind is the engine behind every decision, every emotion, every habit, and every result in your life. But here's the problem. Most people never learn how to take control of it. They let their mind wander, overthink, hesitate, panic, and spiral. Then they wonder why they feel stuck, tired, or unmotivated. This audiobook is not about motivation that fades after 5 minutes. It's about helping you understand your mind and how to take full charge of it, step by step, choice by choice. You're going to learn how to stop overthinking, how to control your reactions, how to stay calm under pressure, and how to replace weak thoughts with strong ones. This isn't theory. This is the mindset work that transforms lives. If you're serious about getting your life together, you start by controlling what's happening inside your head. Listen closely. This could change everything. Chapter 1. Decide what thoughts deserve space in your head. You wake up every day with thousands of thoughts running through your mind. Some are helpful, some are harmful, and some are just noise. But here's the truth most people ignore. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every thought should have power over you, and usually it doesn't choose well. See, most people never stop and think about what they're thinking. They don't filter, they accept every thought as real. If a negative thought shows up, they believe it. If a discouraging idea pops into their head, they hold on to it. If an old memory comes back, they let it control how they feel, and this is where the damage starts. When you treat every thought as truth, you hand over control of your life to something unstable. You must learn to decide. You must take that power back. Every thought that enters your mind is not a command, it's not a fact, it's not always useful, it's just a thought. And your job is to step back and ask, does this deserve space in my mind? If you allow every worry, every fear, every doubt, every excuse to live in your head, don't be surprised when you feel stuck, tired, and overwhelmed. Because those thoughts, over time, will wear you down. They'll convince you to play small. They'll keep you distracted, and they'll tell you to settle. You need to stop and think. What is this thought doing for me? Is it helping me grow? Is it keeping me focused? Is it pushing me toward who I want to become? If not, why are you holding on to it? This is not about pretending everything is fine. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about taking responsibility for what you allow into your mental space. Just like you wouldn't let a stranger walk into your home and trash it, you shouldn't let any random thought walk into your mind and stay. Start paying attention. The moment a thought shows up, notice how it makes you feel. If it makes you feel weak, hopeless, angry, afraid, or ashamed, question it. Ask yourself where it came from. Ask yourself if it's based on truth or fear. Ask yourself if it's helping you build the life you want, because thoughts shape actions, and actions shape results. If you keep thinking you're not good enough, you'll start acting like it. If you keep thinking you'll fail, you'll stop trying. If you keep thinking the past defines you, you won't change your future. Thoughts are not harmless. They create momentum, either forward or backward. But here's the good news. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. You are the one who decides what stays and what goes. You are the gatekeeper. And once you start acting like it, you'll feel a shift, a sense of power, a sense of control. Because now, you're not reacting, you're choosing. Start your day with clarity. Don't just roll out of bed and grab your phone. Don't open the door to distraction right away. Sit quietly, even if it's for 5 minutes, and ask yourself, what kind of thoughts do I want to carry today? Choose them. Set them. anchor them. You'll feel the difference. And when the day gets noisy, and it will, you'll already know what belongs in your mind and what doesn't. When doubt tries to sneak in, you'll notice it faster. When old habits try to take over, you'll resist them with more strength. When someone says something that normally upsets you, you'll stay calm because you already decided they don't get to control your mind. This is not a quick fix. It's not something you master in a week. It's a practice. You'll fail sometimes. You'll forget. You'll slip into old patterns. That's okay. What matters is that you come back to this decision. Only the thoughts that serve me get to stay. There's a reason so many people feel anxious and mentally exhausted. They've never cleaned up their mind. They've never stopped to ask, do I really believe this? They're carrying old pain, outdated beliefs and stories that no longer help them, and they're living in a mental space that's full of clutter. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more content. You need to clear space for clarity. And clarity only comes when you remove what doesn't belong. Start small. Just catch one thought today that normally goes unnoticed. Maybe it's the voice that tells you to delay something important. Maybe it's the thought that says you're not smart enough. Maybe it's that mental replay of something you regret. When you catch it, pause. Interrupt it. Say no. That doesn't belong here. You'll feel uncomfortable. That's normal, but soon that pause becomes power, and that power becomes your new standard. You stop letting your mind run on autopilot, and you start driving it where you want to go. And once you taste that feeling of choosing your thoughts, you won't want to go back. Because for the first time, you're in charge. You're no longer reacting to life with a scattered mind. You're responding with clarity. You're thinking with intention. You're building inner strength, not by accident, but by choice. People often ask, how do I feel better? The real question is, how do I think better? Because your feelings follow your thoughts, and your actions follow your feelings. So if you want better results, you have to think better thoughts. And to think better thoughts, you have to decide what thoughts deserve your time and your energy. You don't have to believe everything your mind says. You don't have to argue with it either. You just need to decide. Keep what lifts you. Keep what moves you forward. Keep what aligns with the person you want to become. Everything else, let it go. Your mind can be your greatest tool or your biggest trap, but the choice is always yours. And that choice starts with one powerful question. Does this thought deserve to stay? If not, don't give it another second. Replace it with something better, with something stronger, with something that pushes you, grounds you, and reminds you who you are and what you're here to do. Because once you learn to decide what thoughts stay and what thoughts leave, you're no longer controlled by your mind. You're controlling it, and that's where real change begins. Chapter 2. Catch yourself when your mind starts lying again. Your mind is powerful, but it isn't always honest. There are moments when your own thoughts work against you, and if you're not paying attention, those thoughts will shape how you feel, how you act, and how your life turns out. One of the most important skills you can develop is the ability to catch your mind the moment it starts lying to you. It happens quietly. You think it's just another passing idea, but it's not. It's a message that's trying to lower your belief in yourself. It says things like, you're not good enough. You always mess things up. No one cares what you do. Or, it's too late for you. And the most dangerous part? These lies don't come from the outside. They come from within. Most people never stop to question them. They hear the lie and believe it. They repeat it to themselves. They act on it. They live by it. And over time, those lies become their reality. Not because they were true, but because they never stopped to check. If you want to control your mind, you have to be alert. You have to develop the habit of watching your own thoughts with clear eyes. The moment your mind tells you something that feels heavy, harsh, or hopeless, pause. That's your signal. That's the moment to stop everything and look closer. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, if it's draining your strength, if it's pushing you toward fear or regret, you must challenge it. Because the mind has patterns. It tends to repeat what's familiar, and if you've lived for years with self-doubt or guilt or fear, your mind will return to those patterns, even when you're trying to grow. That's why catching the lie early matters. The longer you let it stay, the more damage it does. It shifts your focus. It messes with your confidence. It convinces you to shrink back instead of stepping forward. And what's worse, the more you obey that lie, the more power it gains. You weren't born doubting yourself. You weren't born thinking you're not enough. Those thoughts came later, from pain, from comparison, from failure. But just because they've been with you for a while doesn't mean they belong to you. You don't owe loyalty to a voice that weakens you. You owe it to yourself to build a new standard. Start watching your inner language. Not just the obvious words, but the quiet ones, the background noise, the thoughts that come when you're tired or stressed or disappointed. That's when the lies sneak in. They don't always shout, sometimes they whisper, and if you're not fully present, you'll believe them before you realize they're not true. You have to interrupt them, you have to speak to them, not with panic but with strength. When your mind says, you can't handle this, answer back with, I've handled worse. When it says, they're better than you, remind yourself, I'm not here to compete. I'm here to grow. When it says, you'll never change, say, I'm already changing. Right now. This isn't about forcing positive thinking. It's about returning to what's real. Lies distort reality. They twist your perspective. They tell you that your worst days define your whole life. They make you forget your strengths, your progress, your courage. But the truth is always stronger if you choose to see it. You have a choice. Every time your mind gives you a message, you can accept it or reject it. You can follow it or fight it. But if you don't choose at all, your mind will choose for you, and it rarely chooses the stronger path unless you've trained it. That's what mental control is. Training. It's catching the lie faster. It's refusing to follow every thought that shows up. It's protecting your inner space like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. You don't have to listen to the voice that criticizes you when no one's watching. You don't have to agree with the part of your mind that says you're not ready or worthy or smart enough. That voice isn't your truth, it's your past. And it's time to stop giving it the microphone. Remember, your mind responds to repetition. So if you want to weaken the lies, stop repeating them. Stop saying, I always fail. Stop saying, I'm too broken. Stop saying, I'm not good with people, or I don't have what it takes. These aren't facts, they're habits. And habits can be changed. Start building new ones. Speak the kind of truth that strengthens you. Say things like, I'm learning. I'm getting stronger. I don't have to prove anything to anyone. I have a choice in how I think. These are not just words, they are foundations, and over time, they create a new mental environment, one that supports your growth instead of blocking it. But you have to be consistent. The old thoughts will still try to return. They'll show up when things go wrong, when you get rejected, when you feel alone, and in those moments you have to hold your ground. You have to be the one who says, no, not this time. I've heard this lie before, and I'm not falling for it again. This is what mental freedom looks like, not perfection, but awareness. You're no longer running on autopilot. You're not just reacting to your thoughts. You're examining them, you're choosing, you're correcting. That's power. That's control. That's what it means to lead yourself. And the more you practice it, the faster you'll grow. You'll start noticing how often your mind plays old tapes. You'll see how your mood shifts based on what you believe. You'll understand just how much your mindset influences your actions. And you'll start living with more peace, not because life gets easier, but because your mind gets clearer. You don't have to fix everything at once. Start by catching just one lie a day. That's enough. Over time, you'll build awareness. You'll become quicker at recognizing the pattern. You'll build strength from the inside out. And eventually your mind will learn that the old tricks no longer work on you. Your life changes when your thoughts change. But your thoughts won't change by accident. You must choose to step in and take the wheel. You must choose to stop believing everything your mind tells you. And you must choose to build a mindset that doesn't fall apart when life gets tough. The mind will always talk. The question is, will you believe everything it says, or will you pause and ask if it's even true? That's where freedom begins. That's where control starts. That's how you create real change, from the inside. Because once you learn to catch the lies early, you stop feeding them. You stop letting them grow. You stop turning them into actions. And when the lies lose their power, your real self starts to rise. The self that's bold. The self that's calm. The self that moves forward with quiet confidence, even when everything around you is loud. That version of you is already there. It's just buried under the noise. Clear it, catch it, confront it, and keep going.
Chapter 3. Act before your brain talks you out of it. Most people don't fail because they're not smart enough or talented enough. They fail because they hesitate, they wait, they overthink, and by the time they finally get ready to act, the moment has passed, and their mind has already convinced them to stop. The truth is, your brain is fast when it comes to fear. It will find reasons. It will create doubts. It will offer you 100 excuses in just seconds. And if you don't move quickly, those excuses win. When you get a good idea, move on it. When you feel a push to do something meaningful, take the step. When you get an urge to speak up, take the chance. If you give your brain too much time, it will take that energy and turn it into anxiety. It will remind you of past failures. It will tell you that you're not ready. It will make the problem feel bigger than it really is. This is how people stay stuck for years. Not because they don't know what to do, but because they let their mind talk them out of doing it. Your brain's job is to protect you, but it often does this by trying to avoid anything uncomfortable, and growth is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. Taking risks, speaking up, starting new habits, it all feels uncertain. So your brain jumps in and says, let's not do this. It's risky. It might not work. What if you look stupid? And if you pause for too long, you'll start to agree. That's why you have to act before your brain takes over. Not carelessly. Not without thought, but without letting fear take the steering wheel. Because once fear starts driving your choices, your life gets smaller. You stay in the same routines, the same habits, the same patterns. You start avoiding life instead of engaging with it. You need to understand how quickly the mind can turn a good decision into self-doubt. You say you'll go to the gym. The mind says, it's late, you're tired. One day off won't hurt. You plan to speak up in a meeting. The mind says, You might say the wrong thing. Just stay quiet. You want to start your side business. The mind says, you don't know enough. Someone else is already doing it better. That's how fast it works. And the more you listen to it, the more it wins. But when you act fast, when you move before the fear takes over, you interrupt that process. You cut the pattern. You stop the doubt before it multiplies, and you train yourself to lead your mind, instead of being led by it. People often wait for motivation to act. They say things like, I'll do it when I feel more confident. But confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. You build it by doing the hard thing. You build it by showing up even when you don't feel ready. The mistake is waiting until everything feels right. That moment rarely comes. The timing will never be perfect. You have to stop waiting and start doing. Think of how many opportunities you've missed. Not because you didn't have what it takes, but because you waited too long. You hesitated. You let the thought sit in your mind until it got distorted. You went from excited to nervous, from ready to uncertain, and all of it happened in your head. This is why action is powerful. It resets your focus. It pulls you out of the mental spiral and into real life. It gets you moving forward. Even a small action is better than none. Because once you act, momentum builds, and momentum creates belief. The people who grow the fastest aren't the ones who know the most. They're the ones who take action, while others are still thinking about it. They feel fear too. They have doubts, but they don't let those doubts make their decisions. They move first, then figure it out as they go. You have to stop giving your mind time to build fear around your goals. Stop sitting in your head for hours, planning and replanning. You already know what you should do. Deep down it's clear. What's missing is move. And when you move, even slightly, you start building the life you keep thinking about. When you get an idea that excites you, act within the first few minutes. Even if it's just writing it down or making a phone call, that quick action tells your brain, I'm serious about this. It builds trust with yourself. The more you do it, the more you prove that you follow through, and that changes everything. It's not about being impulsive. It's about recognizing that delay creates mental resistance. The longer you wait, the heavier it feels. That's why some people feel stuck all the time. Their brain has built so many layers of excuses that even the smallest task feels like a mountain. The only way to break that is to act before the excuses get loud. You can practice this in daily life. When your alarm goes off in the morning, get up without a debate. When you think of calling someone you've been avoiding, do it before you change your mind. When you want to start that workout, begin with 5 minutes before your brain talks you into skipping it. Each time you act without delay, you take back control. You start teaching your brain that you're not going to be bullied by hesitation. You start creating a new identity. Someone who moves. Someone who leads. Someone who doesn't wait for the perfect feeling to take the right step. That kind of mindset creates results. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to stop giving fear the final say. You don't have to feel strong every day. You just have to move before your weakness takes over. And you don't need anyone else to believe in you. You just need to prove to yourself that you'll take action when it matters. This one change, moving before your brain convinces you not to, can shift everything. It can change your confidence. It can change your energy. It can change your habit, because now you're leading your life, not reacting to it. Think of how your days would look if you stopped overthinking and just followed through. Think of how much progress you'd make in 30 days if you didn't wait for the right move. Think of how much stronger you'd feel if you trusted your decisions enough to act on them fast. This isn't about rushing. It's about not freezing. It's about catching that short window of energy and using it before fear drains it. That window is small, but if you train yourself to notice it and move on it, you'll start breaking patterns that have held you back for years. You have more strength than you think, but you'll never feel it until you start using it. Action brings that strength to the surface. It reminds you what you're capable of, and it shows you that your mind is not the enemy. It's just a tool, one that you must direct. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop waiting for everything to make sense. Choose to act before your brain shuts the door. Choose to take the first step, even if it's small. That's how growth begins, not with perfect plans, but with bold movement. You already know what to do. Don't let your thoughts talk you out of your future. Move now. Move forward. Move before the noise starts, and you'll start building the kind of life most people only think about.
Chapter 4. Stop letting your mood control your next move. Most people don't realize how often they let their mood decide their direction. They wake up tired, so they move slow all day. They feel upset, so they don't speak to anyone. They feel unmotivated, so they don't work on their goals. They feel off, so they avoid taking action. Without noticing it, their entire day, week, and sometimes their life is being shaped by how they feel in the moment. But if you want to build a strong life, you have to learn how to act beyond your mood. Because your mood will lie, your mood will shift, and your mood isn't built to lead your life. There are days when you don't feel like doing anything. That doesn't mean you do nothing. There are moments when you don't feel inspired. That doesn't mean you give up. And there are times when your mood tells you to quit, avoid, hide, or walk away. But what your mood tells you and what your values tell you are not the same thing. If you build your life around your feelings, you'll always be unstable. You'll be productive one day and distracted the next, focused in the morning and careless by evening. That's no way to build strength. Your feelings are real, but they should not be in charge. The person you want to become requires you to act beyond emotion. It requires you to show up when you feel flat. It requires you to speak up even if you're nervous. It requires you to stick with the hard things when you're frustrated. If you only act when you feel perfect, you'll never move forward. You'll always be waiting for the right state of mind, and waiting for the perfect mood is a trap. If you want to control your mind, you must stop letting your mood make the decisions. When you feel lazy, take action anyway. When you feel overwhelmed, break it down and do one small thing. When you feel sad, do something that helps someone else. When you feel anxious, breathe deep and move forward anyway. That's how you regain control. That's how you stop being led by something that changes every hour. The mood you're in right now is not permanent. It doesn't have to define your choices. It doesn't have to set the tone for your actions. But you have to decide that. You have to stop and say, yes, I feel this, but I'm not going to let this feeling run my life. Because if you don't say that, the mood wins. And when the mood wins once, it gets easier to let it win again. There's nothing wrong with feeling tired, angry, or discouraged. That's part of being human. But using those moods as an excuse to give less effort, to give up early, or to stop trying, that's where the damage begins. It's not the feeling that hurts you. It's the choices you make because of it. You are allowed to feel, but you must still lead. The strongest people don't ignore their emotions. They acknowledge them, but they don't serve them. You've got to learn how to step back and ask yourself, what would I do right now if my mood wasn't leading me? That question alone can change your response. It gives you power. It gives you room to choose your action instead of just reacting. That's what mental control looks like, not ignoring how you feel, but not being controlled by it either. Think about how many days you've lost because you didn't feel like doing anything. How many goals you delayed because you felt low.
How many important conversations you avoided because you weren't in the mood to talk. If you let every emotion stop you, you'll stay stuck. Your dreams don't wait until you feel great. Your responsibilities don't care about your mood. Life keeps moving. So you must learn how to move with it, even when it's hard. Your mood will shift based on sleep, food, stress, weather, and even things other people say. If you let something that fragile lead your actions, how can you expect your life to be stable? You need a better foundation, and that foundation is called discipline. Discipline means you do what needs to be done, even when you're not in the mood to do it. Discipline means you don't ask how you feel before doing what's right. Discipline means you keep showing up because your future matters more than your feeling. There will always be something that affects your mood. A rude comment, a slow day, a sudden setback. But your reaction to those things is your choice. You can either let them take over your mind, or you can decide to hold the line. You can stay focused. You can stay committed. You can stay moving forward, no matter how you feel inside. You don't have to be happy to be consistent. You don't have to be excited to take action. You don't have to be fearless to make progress. You just need to keep going. You need to stay connected to your goals even when your emotions pull you away from them. And that starts with awareness. Start noticing when your mood shifts your behavior. Track the pattern. Write it down if you have to. Ask yourself, what do I do when I feel off? Do you stop working? Do you isolate yourself? Do you start doubting everything? These are habits. They can be changed, but only if you see them clearly. Next time you feel unmotivated, ask yourself, what small action can I take anyway? You don't have to solve everything at once. You just need to move in the right direction. The feeling might still be there, but you're not bowing to it. You're leading. And the more you practice this, the stronger you become. You will start to build a version of yourself that is no longer shaped by mood swing. You'll become someone who does the work, shows up, and takes action. Not because it always feels good, but because it matters. That's power. That's growth. That's what creates a meaningful life. People respect consistency. Results follow discipline. Peace comes from stability. And all of that starts when you stop letting your mood be the boss. It can speak. It can move through you. But it does not get to choose what you do next. You'll notice that when you act in spite of your mood, the mood starts to shift. You feel stronger. You gain momentum. You take back your time. You stop wasting hours waiting to feel different, and start using your energy to make a difference. That's the shift. That's how you begin to control your mind and your life. You're not always going to wake up inspired. Some days you'll feel flat, drained, or distracted. That's okay. What matters is what you do with those days. Will you sit in it, or will you move anyway? Will you slow down and stop? Or will you take one small step forward? This is the mindset you need to build if you want progress that lasts. Because the world won't adjust itself to match your mood, and the opportunity you want won't pause while you feel better. The people who grow, win, and lead are the ones who master the skill of action over emotion. They listen to their feelings, but they don't follow them. And when you live that way, you start to experience a different kind of freedom, not the kind that comes from everything going your way. The kind that comes from knowing that no matter what your mood is, you're still going to do what needs to be done. That's real control. That's how you stop being a prisoner of your emotions and start becoming the driver of your future. Every time you choose discipline over mood, you win. Every time you stay consistent when it would be easier to quit, you build strength. Every time you act with intention, not reaction, you prove to yourself that you're in control. And that's what this is all about. Not ignoring your emotions, but leading your life with your values, not your feelings. Because once you master that, you become unstoppable. No matter what happens, you keep moving forward. That's the life you deserve. And that life starts the moment you stop letting your mood decide your next move. Chapter 5. Say no to anything that clouds your thinking. You can't think clearly when your mind is crowded. You can't focus when your head is full of noise. Every distraction, every unnecessary conversation, every toxic habit, every draining environment, it all adds up. It might seem small, but when you allow too many things into your space, your thinking becomes foggy. And when your thinking is foggy, your decisions suffer, your clarity disappears, your energy drops, and the worst part is, most people don't even realize what's clouding them, because they've been living that way for so long. It feels normal. If you want control over your mind, the first step is saying no to what doesn't belong. Not maybe, not later. No. Say no to the things that confuse you, exhaust you, pull you away from your priorities, and make you second-guess yourself. Every time you say yes to something that clouds your mind, you are saying no to your own peace. People underestimate the damage of small interruptions. A pointless scroll on your phone, a meaningless argument, time spent with someone who drains you. All of these moments steal your clarity, and you don't notice it right away. But the effect is there. You sit down to focus, and your head is already full. You try to work and your thoughts are scattered. You try to be calm, and you feel tension. You can't explain. This is the price of saying yes to too much. You need to protect your mental space like it matters, because it does. Your thoughts shape how you feel, and how you feel shapes what you do. If your thinking is cloudy, your life will reflect that. You'll make rushed choices. You'll miss what's important. You'll lose your sense of direction. That's why mental clarity isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. To get clarity, you have to make space for it. That means removing what doesn't serve you. And most of the time, that starts with boundaries. Saying no to gossip, even when everyone else is listening. Saying no to events that you know will leave you drained. Saying no to habits that waste your time and give you nothing in return. Not because you think you're better, but because you know your mind is too valuable to be filled with junk. People might not like your boundaries. That's okay. You're not responsible for their reaction. You're responsible for your focus. And if someone truly supports your growth, they'll respect your decision to protect it. If they don't, that tells you what you need to know. There's a cost to being available to everyone and everything. And the cost is your mental energy. Every yes adds another thing to think about, worry about, manage, or recover from. Eventually, your mind is so packed with noise that you can't even hear your own voice. That's when you start to feel lost. Not because you don't know who you are, but because you've been too distracted to listen. Saying no isn't rejection, it's direction. It's the way you carve a path that's clean, quiet, and focused. It's the way you regain your ability to think straight. Because when your mind is clear, your confidence grows. You can make decisions faster. You can trust yourself more. You can hear your own thoughts without the interference of everyone else's opinions. Think about the times when you felt your best, not just emotionally, but mentally. Most likely, those were moments when your mind was quiet, your path was clear, and your time was spent on things that mattered. That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when you protect your thinking. The more you allow in, the more you lose control. So you have to be strict, not harsh, but intentional. Ask yourself often, is this helping me think better, or making things worse? It might be a conversation, a video, a piece of news, or even a routine you've never questioned. If it adds confusion or chaos to your life, It's time to say no. Simplicity is not laziness, it's power. When your mind is free from clutter, your ability to focus and perform improves. You become more grounded, you waste less energy, you make better choices, and you feel more at peace. Not because your life is perfect, but because your thinking is no longer being pulled in every direction. It's not just about cutting things out, it's also about being careful with what you let in. You have to be intentional with the conversations you have, the content you consume, the people you give your time to, and the environments you stay in. Everything you allow into your space either sharpens your mind or fogs it. There's a lot of noise in today's world, a lot of pressure to stay connected, involved, informed, and entertained. But just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right for your mind. You have to pause and ask yourself, what do I really need right now? And most of the time what you need is less, not more. Your brain can't work properly when it's overloaded. Just like a room feels tight when there's too much furniture, your mind feels heavy when there's too much noise. You have to clear out the non-essential. That means removing distractions, tightening your focus, and saying no to anything that doesn't align with your goals. Sometimes the things clouding your mind are habits you've been carrying for years. Staying up late scrolling through things you don't need, checking your phone every few minutes, listening to people who always bring stress into your day. These things become normal until you step back and realize how much mental space they're taking up. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your energy. You don't owe every notification your immediate attention. You don't need to be part of every conversation. You have a right to silence. You have a right to focus. You have a right to protect your thinking. The stronger your boundaries, the clearer your mind. And the clearer your mind, the more powerful your life becomes. Because now you're not reacting to chaos. You're building your path. You're not drowning in noise. You're thinking with intention. And that kind of thinking leads to action. That's smart, steady, and aligned with your purpose. You can start today. Choose one thing that's been clouding your mind. Maybe it's a social media habit. Maybe it's a person who always brings drama. Maybe it's a routine that leaves you mentally exhausted. Decide that it no longer has space in your day. Say no to it. Replace it with something cleaner, something quieter, something that allows you to breathe, reflect, and move forward with clarity. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be real. Every small step you take to clear your mental space adds up. Over time you'll feel it. The calm, the control, the sharpness. You'll notice you're thinking better, acting smarter, and feeling stronger. Not because your life is easier, but because your mind is cleaner. And when your mind is clean, your choices improve. When your choices improve, your habits improve. When your habits improve, your life changes. That's the power of saying no to what clouds your thinking. You don't need more things to think about. You need fewer things, with more meaning, fewer opinions, fewer distractions, fewer unnecessary tasks, and more space to think for yourself, to make decisions with purpose, and to live from your own values, not someone else's noise. So make it your mission, not to add more but to subtract what doesn't belong. Say no often. Say it without guilt. Say it for your focus, your peace, your power. Because a clear mind is a strong mind, and a strong mind leads to a life that's built with clarity, not confusion. That's how you take control. That's how you protect your future. That's how you lead your life with intention, every single day.
Chapter 6. Do what strengthens you, not what feels easy. Most people spend their days chasing what feels easy. They choose comfort,
They choose the shortcut. They avoid pressure, and over time, that becomes their identity. Someone who takes the safer route, someone who stops when things get difficult, someone who stays where it's familiar even if it means staying small. The problem is, growth doesn't live in ease. Growth lives where things challenge you, and if you want to control your mind, you have to stop asking what's easier and start asking what will make me stronger. Every decision you make either builds your strength or weakens it. When you avoid the hard conversation, you weaken your communication. When you skip the workout because you're tired, you weaken your discipline. When you stay quiet when you should speak, you weaken your confidence. When you give in to your urges, you weaken your self-respect. It's not about one big moment. It's all the small moments where you choose what's comfortable instead of what's right. And those choices add up. You don't grow by doing what you've always done. You grow by stepping into what tests you, what stretches you, what demands something new from you. That's where real change happens. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting. In fact, it's often frustrating. But that frustration is where strength is built. When something is hard and you choose to do it anyway, you build character. You build grit. You prove to yourself that you're not controlled by convenience. The easy path always looks attractive at first. It saves time, it feels safe. It keeps your ego untouched. But it costs you in the long run. It keeps you average. It keeps you hidden. It keeps you dependent on external rewards. When you only do what feels good, you never develop the muscles you need to handle life's demands. People often say they want confidence, they want power, they want respect. But you don't earn those things by following ease. You earn them by doing what's hard, especially when no one is watching. You earn them by doing the stoic when your body says no, by making the call when you feel afraid, by finishing the project when you're tempted to quit. That's how you earn self-trust. That's how you become mentally strong. It's not something someone gives you. It's something you build through actions that hurt in the moment, but help you long-term. Your brain is wired to seek comfort. It wants to keep you safe. It wants to protect your energy. It doesn't want you to feel stress, pain, or fear. But that system, if you follow it blindly, will keep you small. It will trap you in cycles of low effort, low reward, and low belief in yourself. You must learn to lead your brain instead of being led by it. That starts by choosing what strengthens you. Even when it's uncomfortable, it might be waking up early when your bed is warm. It might be saying no to distractions that give you short-term pleasure, but long-term regret. It might be practicing a skill again and again until it finally clicks. None of that feels easy, but every time you choose it, you grow. You get sharper, you get stronger. You build something inside you that no one can take away. And once you start living this way, everything changes. You stop looking for quick results. You stop comparing yourself to people who aren't on your level. You stop needing praise to stay consistent because you know you're doing the hard thing, and that's enough. You know you're choosing growth over ease, and that builds real pride. The kind of pride that makes you hold your head up, even when no one claps for you. You have to understand that the work you avoid today is the same work that builds the life you want. If you keep avoiding it, you keep avoiding your future. That's the price of ease. It delays everything, your progress, your peace, your potential. And the longer you delay, the harder it is to believe in yourself again. Doing what strengthens you requires honesty. You have to ask hard questions. What am I avoiding? Where am I making excuses? Where have I chosen comfort for so long that it feels normal now? And when you answer those questions, you don't run from them. You face them. You face them with courage. That's how strength is built. not in comfort, but in truth. There's no perfect time to start doing the hard things. The right time is now. The longer you wait, the louder your mind will get. It'll remind you of how hard it is. It'll tell you to wait until you're more ready. But readiness isn't a feeling, it's a choice. You don't wait for it. You become it through action. And here's what's powerful. Once you start choosing strength over ease, it becomes your new standard. You begin to expect more from yourself. You stop settling for average effort. You build routines that push you forward, instead of ones that keep you stuck. And when challenges show up, you don't panic. You've trained for them. You've already chosen the hard road. So now, when life gets heavy, you can carry it. There's something deeply fulfilling about doing what's difficult. You lay your head down at night with peace, not because everything is perfect, but because you gave your best. You didn't take the shortcut. You didn't run from discomfort. You did what most people won't. And that builds a sense of respect that no praise can match. Think about the strongest people you admire, the ones who inspire you, the ones who seem unshakable. They didn't get there by following comfort. They got there by making sacrifice, by putting in work no one saw, by choosing the path that required effort, patience, and discipline. If you want that kind of life, you have to make those kinds of choices. Your future depends on what you choose today. And every day, you get to decide, will I choose what strengthens me, or what feels easy right now? One leads to progress, the other leads to regret. Don't fool yourself into thinking ease is harmless. It chips away at your belief, your drive, and your momentum. But when you do the hard thing, even for just a few minutes, you take that power back. Start where you are. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Just pick one thing each day that's hard but meaningful. One habit, one decision, one commitment, and stick with it. Not because it feels good, but because it builds something valuable inside you. And as you repeat that, your mind changes, your identity shifts. You're no longer someone who avoids the tough stuff. You're someone who runs toward it. You become someone you can trust. And that's the reward of doing what strengthens you. You build inner stability. You grow into someone who doesn't collapse when things get rough. Because your strength wasn't built in perfect conditions. It was built in struggle, in silence, in moments where no one noticed. But you showed up anyway. So make the choice, not once, every day. Choose the workout. Choose the hard conversation. Choose the discipline. Choose the extra effort. Because every time you do, you separate yourself from the crowd. You step into the life most people won't experience. Not because they can't, but because they keep chasing what's easy. You know better now. You know what ease costs, and you know what strength gives. So build that strength. Use your time wisely. Respect your potential. Take control of your mind by making it your ally, not your excuse. And let your actions show the world exactly who you are. Someone who doesn't settle for what's easy, but who rises for what's right.
Chapter 7. Ask yourself why you keep avoiding hard things. It's easy to say you want to improve your life. It's easy to write goals down and talk about big plans, but none of that matters if you keep avoiding the hard things. The question you need to ask, honestly and without excuses, is why. Why do you keep running from the work that will change you? Why do you keep putting off the steps that will actually move your life forward? Until you answer that, nothing else will shift. Most people avoid hard things, not because they can't do them, but because they're uncomfortable with the feelings that come with them. Pressure, uncertainty, failure, embarrassment. These are emotions we try to escape, so we replace difficult tasks with distractions. We stay busy with things that don't matter, just so we can avoid what does. We convince ourselves we're being productive, when deep down, we know we're just hiding. You might avoid challenges because you've failed in the past, and you're afraid it will happen again. Or maybe you've tied your self-worth to performance, and you can't stand the thought of not being perfect. Maybe you're so used to staying safe
that stepping into something hard feels threatening, even if it's what you need most. But here's the truth. The things you keep avoiding are the exact things that would free you. You have to look closely at the pattern. You say you want discipline, but you avoid routines that demand consistency. You say you want strength, but you run from resistance. You say you want success, but you avoid the sacrifice that comes with it. That's not just a contradiction, it's self-sabotage, and if you don't stop and face it, you'll keep wasting time. The first step is being honest with yourself. No more sugarcoating, no more blaming distractions, or waiting for the right moment. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Is it failure, or is it being seen trying and not getting it right? Is it discomfort, or is it exposing how much you've been avoiding it? You don't have to have all the answers, but you do need to stop pretending you don't see what's happening. When you avoid hard things, you avoid growth. You avoid the exact pressure that builds you. You avoid the sweat that clears your mind. You avoid the lessons that only struggle can teach you. And every time you turn away from that, you tell your mind that weakness wins. That comfort matters more than character. And the more you live that way, the harder it becomes to respect yourself. The pain of doing hard things is temporary. But the pain of avoiding them, that sticks with you. It lingers in the background. It follows you into every decision. It shows up as guilt, doubt, and regret. That's why you have to deal with it now. You have to look it in the face and stop lying to yourself. You're not avoiding because it's impossible. You're avoiding because it's heavy. But strength only grows through resistance. Every time you step into something difficult, you teach your mind that you're in charge. You show yourself that discomfort is survivable, that you can handle pressure, that fear doesn't need to lead you. And the more you do that, the more trust you build in yourself. That trust becomes confidence. That confidence becomes consistency. And that's how real change starts. Ask yourself, how much longer are you going to wait? How much more time are you going to give to things that keep you the same? How many chances have you already let pass by because you weren't ready to face the hard parts? You don't need another book, another podcast, or another motivational quote. You need action. You need to get uncomfortable. You need to walk directly into the things you've been running from. Start small. Choose one thing you've been avoiding and deal with it today. Have the conversation. Start the habit. Face the task. Don't wait until it feels easier, because it won't. It only gets easier when you do it. And even then, it won't feel easy. It will feel necessary. That's the shift. You stop seeing hard things as something to fear and start seeing them as part of the process. The people you admire, the ones who've built strong lives, they didn't get there by doing what's comfortable. They got there by choosing challenge, again and again. They said yes to the pain that most people avoid. They showed up on the days they didn't feel ready. They pushed through the mental walls you're still standing in front of. And they're not superhuman. They're just committed. Committed to doing what others won't. You can build that kind of mindset, but it starts with truth. No more excuses about timing. No more stories about why you're not capable. No more protecting your ego. Face the hard thing. Let it humble you. Let it challenge you. Let it break the version of you that's been stuck in delay. Because on the other side of that pressure is the person you've been trying to become. Every time you face the thing you avoid, you build a new layer of strength. That strength becomes your standard. And the more you repeat it, the less fear controls your decision. You start making moves not based on what's easy, but on what's right. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You act because it's necessary, not because it feels good. And that's what separates those who grow from those who don't. It's not talent, it's not luck. It's the decision to face difficulty and do it anyway. It's the willingness to look at your own behavior and say, "I've been avoiding this, and it stops now." That kind of ownership is rare, but it's the only way to change your life. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to feel confident. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to stop running. You need to sit with the discomfort you've been avoiding. Understand where it comes from. Then decide that it doesn't get to run your life anymore. That decision alone is a turning point. From that point forward, you live differently. You think differently. You stop building your days around comfort and start building them around purpose. You stop asking, "What's easiest?" and start asking, "What will make me stronger?" You stop avoiding and you start confronting. And once you start confronting the hard things, you'll realize something powerful. They weren't as scary as your mind made them out to be. They were just unfamiliar. And now that you've faced them, you're not the same. You're sharper. You're braver. You're in control, not of the world, but of yourself. And that's where real power begins. So ask yourself, not just once, but often, why do I keep avoiding hard things? Be honest about the answer, then do something about it. That's how you take back control. That's how you earn your own respect. That's how you build the kind of life that doesn't fall apart when things get hard. Because you've already trained for hard. You've stopped running, and you've chosen to run.
Chapter 8. Slow down your mind when it starts racing. There will be moments in your life when your mind feels like it's running faster than you can control. One thought leads to another, then another, until you're caught in a rush of worry, pressure, and mental noise. You start imagining everything that could go wrong. You overanalyze conversations. You rehearse outcomes that haven't even happened. And the more you try to think your way through it, the louder your thoughts become. That's when you need to slow everything down. Not later, not tomorrow, right now. Because when your mind starts racing, it becomes almost impossible to think clearly, act wisely, or feel grounded. When your head spins, you disconnect from the present. Your body is here, but your thoughts are somewhere else. You can't focus. You can't make clear decisions. You can't breathe right. Your chest feels tight. Your heart might speed up. Your shoulders tense. You feel like you have to fix everything at once. This is how stress grows. Not from the situation itself, but from how your mind reacts to it. The racing thoughts feel real, but most of them are guesses, predictions, or assumptions that you've carried too far. You don't need to solve everything in your head. What you need is space. You need to create distance between yourself and the chaos. Because if you let your thoughts keep pulling you forward, they'll take you to places that don't exist. You'll feel pain that hasn't happened. You'll suffer from things that aren't even real. And your energy will drain from problems that don't need attention. The key is to catch it early. Notice when your thoughts are speeding up. Don't ignore it. Don't try to outthink it. That only adds fuel to the fire. Instead, pause. Stop what you're doing. Put your attention on your breath. Take a slow inhale, then a slower exhale. Not to escape the moment, but to re-enter it with control. This simple act begins to break the momentum of your racing mind. You're not weak for feeling overwhelmed. You're not broken because your thoughts are too loud. You're human. The problem isn't that your mind races. The problem is when you let it run wild without stepping in. You have to remember that your mind is not a master. It's a tool, but a tool out of control becomes dangerous. Sometimes your mind races because you've been carrying too much without taking a break. You haven't slowed down. You haven't given yourself time to reflect, breathe, or reset. You've stayed busy, distracted, or overcommitted. So your brain stays active, trying to process everything at once. That's when it turns against you, not because it wants to hurt you, but because it's trying to protect you from what it doesn't understand. To slow your mind, you need stillness, and stillness doesn't mean doing nothing.
It means becoming intentional, walking without your phone, sitting without noise, writing down your thoughts so they stop spinning in your head, speaking calmly, choosing your pace, not rushing, just because the world is rushing around you. When your mind is racing, you're not in control of your next move. You're reacting, not responding. You're jumping from thought to thought, hoping one of them gives you peace. But peace doesn't come from racing faster. It comes from stepping back and choosing to go slower. This is especially true in moments of pressure. When something goes wrong, or you feel like everything is urgent, your first instinct might be to panic or push harder. But more speed isn't the answer. What you need is clarity, and clarity only shows up when you slow down. Slowing down doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It allows you to see things for what they are, not for what your fear says they might be. It gives you time to check your thoughts, separate truth from assumption, and take action that aligns with who you want to be. Sometimes your mind is racing because you haven't been honest with yourself. You've avoided something, suppressed something, or ignored something that now wants your attention. So it shows up as racing thoughts. It's your mind's way of saying, look here, deal with this. But instead of facing it, you try to drown it in noise, tasks, or overthinking. You have to be brave enough to listen, sit in silence, and ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Not just the surface emotion. Go deeper. Are you afraid? Are you avoiding a decision? Are you pretending something is fine when it's not? Your mind will slow down the moment you stop lying to yourself. The moment you stop pretending you're okay when you're not. That honesty is hard, but it's healing. Slowing your mind also means choosing what you focus on. You can't control every thought, but you can decide which ones deserve your attention. If your mind throws out 100 worries, you don't have to entertain them all. You can acknowledge the thought and let it pass. Not everything that enters your head needs to be held. You can build this muscle daily. Start with your mornings. Don't check your phone the second you wake up. Don't scroll through headlines before you've even grounded yourself. Give your mind a calm start. Stretch, breathe. Think of one thing you want to focus on for the day. Keep it simple. That sets the tone. Throughout your day, pay attention to how your body feels. Your body is often the first signal that your mind is racing. Are you clenching your jaw? Is your stomach tight? Are your hands restless? That's your cue. Slow your pace. Step away from the screen. Take a few breaths. It takes less than a minute to reset, but that 1 minute could save your whole day from spiraling. You also have to stop feeding the rush. Stop multitasking every second. Stop forcing decisions when you're mentally exhausted. Give yourself permission to pause, to walk slowly, to speak slower, to do one thing at a time. It feels foreign at first, especially if you've built your identity around being productive. But real productivity isn't about speed. It's about presence. And you can't be present if your mind is somewhere else. There's no shame in stepping back, in saying right now I need space to think. You don't owe instant replies. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to figure out your entire future by the end of the week. Slow your mind, and you'll start to see options where you once saw problems. You'll begin to notice solutions that were hidden behind panic. Slowing down is not something you do once. It's something you learn to return to, over and over. When things get loud, you don't have to join the noise. When thoughts get fast, you don't have to run with them. You can pause, breathe, and choose. That's your power. That's how you take your mind back from the chaos. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You don't have to force calm. You just have to stop fighting stillness. Let it in. Even for 5 minutes a day, even in the middle of your mess. you'll start to feel the difference. Not because the world slows down, but because you've learned how to slow down inside of it. There is strength in silence. There is control in calm. There is wisdom in waiting before reacting. And once you experience the peace that comes from slowing your mind, you'll wonder why you ever gave your power away to racing thoughts. You'll stop chasing every anxious idea. You'll stop overthinking every small issue. And you'll start living with more focus, more intention, and more peace. You don't need to escape your mind. You just need to lead it. And leading it means knowing when to step in and slow it down. That is real control. That is what gives you the strength to move forward. Not in panic, but with purpose. Not in fear, but with calm awareness. That's how strong minds are built. One slow breath at a time. Chapter 9. Let go of thoughts that drain your drive. There are thoughts that give you energy, focus, and strength, and there are thoughts that take all of that away. If you don't take control, the ones that drain you will begin to run your life. These thoughts don't shout. They don't always arrive in moments of crisis. They creep in quietly and stay longer than they should. They show up as doubt, comparison, regret, shame, and fear. And if you hold on to them, they will wear down your drive until you have nothing left to give. That's why you have to learn how to let them go. Not just once, but every single time they show up. It starts with recognizing them. You have to know what a draining thought sounds like. It's the voice in your head that tells you it's too late for you, that you've missed your chance, that no matter how hard you try, it won't be enough. It reminds you of everything that went wrong. It tells you to settle. It says you're falling behind. These thoughts don't help you grow. They paralyze you. They don't keep you grounded. They hold you down. You can't afford to keep entertaining them like they're facts. You need to treat your mind the same way you treat your home. If something doesn't belong there, you remove it. You don't argue with it. You don't make room for it. You don't decorate around it. You clear it out. Because your mind has a limited amount of space and attention. And if you fill it with thoughts that drain you, there's no room left for thoughts that drive you. Letting go doesn't mean pretending you never feel discouraged. It doesn't mean ignoring your emotions. It means being honest about what's helpful and what's harmful. If a thought leaves you stuck, tired, anxious, or numb, it doesn't deserve a permanent place in your head. You owe it to yourself to replace it with something stronger, not something fake, something better, something that reminds you that you are capable, that you've made progress, that you still have control over what happens next. A big reason people stay unmotivated is because they don't even realize how much of their energy is being stolen by these thoughts. Every time you dwell on what went wrong, you lose focus on what could go right. Every time you replay the past, you lose the present. Every time you tell yourself a story about why you can't, you stop looking for ways to try. You don't need that noise anymore. It's not helping you. It's not protecting you. It's just dragging you down. To let go of a thought, you have to first separate it from truth. Not everything you think is accurate. Just because a thought feels heavy doesn't mean it's real. You might believe you're behind in life, but who told you that? What are you comparing it to? You might think you're not doing enough, but have you actually looked at how far you've come? These thoughts often go unchallenged. You accept them as truth when they're really just habits. You must interrupt that cycle. Every time a draining thought shows up, pause. Don't react. Don't agree with it right away. Question it. Ask yourself, is this thought useful? Is it pushing me forward or pulling me down? Is it helping me become stronger or convincing me to give up? Most of the time, you'll realize it's doing nothing for you, and once you see that, it becomes easier to release. Letting go also means you stop revisiting things you can't change, the decisions you regret, the people who hurt you, the mistakes you made. They've already happened. Holding on to them doesn't fix them. It only keeps you stuck. You're trying to move forward while carrying weight that doesn't need to be there. It's time to put it down. You can acknowledge the past without living in it. You can learn from it without letting it define your future. Your drive depends on what you feed your mind. If you feed it with thoughts of failure, fear, and self-pity, don't be surprised when your motivation disappears. But if you feed it with reminders of your strength, your goals, your purpose, you'll feel a shift. You'll start showing up differently. You'll stop needing outside motivation because your inner fire is burning again. Letting go is not a one-time event. It's a skill, and you get better at it with practice. Some thoughts will return. That's normal. What matters is that you stop letting them stay. Don't fight them. Don't panic. Just redirect your focus. Choose something better. Something that aligns with the person you want to become. That one shift can change everything. You also need to be mindful of who and what you expose yourself to. Some thoughts aren't yours. They're the result of the people you're around or the content you consume. If you're always hearing negativity, if you're constantly surrounded by complaints and fear, those messages will live in your mind whether you want them to or not. Be selective. Be intentional. Choose inputs that fuel your mindset instead of draining it. Your mind responds to what you repeat. So if you've been repeating thoughts that say, "I can't, I'm tired, it's too hard," then of course you'll feel unmotivated. That's what you've been conditioning yourself to feel. But the moment you start choosing new thoughts, like "I'll figure it out, one step at a time, I'm capable even if it's hard," your entire energy shifts. That's not fake positivity. That's strength. That's focus. That's control. It's not about pretending bad things don't exist. It's about deciding which things you will carry in your mind. You can acknowledge difficulty without giving up your drive. You can experience setbacks without holding on to hopelessness. Letting go means making peace with what was, so you can fully engage with what is. It means choosing clarity over confusion, direction over doubt, movement over stagnation. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker. You are the one who chooses what stays and what goes. You have the authority to clear the mental clutter and fill that space with purpose. But it won't happen on its own. You have to be intentional. You have to say, "This thought doesn't serve me and I'm done letting it live here." You'll feel resistance. You'll feel tempted to revisit the same old thoughts. That's okay. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be aware. And with awareness comes power. The power to choose. The power to shift. The power to let go. Letting go creates space for better thinking. It gives you the mental freedom to focus on what matters. It allows your energy to rise instead of being drained, and that energy fuels your next action. It pushes you through the hard days. It keeps you steady when things get uncertain. It reminds you that your future is still yours to shape. You don't have to carry every thought that enters your head. You can let go. You can breathe again. You can move forward with a clear mind and a focused heart. That's what control feels like. That's what it means to lead yourself, not by reacting to every emotion, but by choosing thoughts that serve your highest goals. The drive you're looking for isn't lost. It's just buried under too much mental weight. Remove what doesn't belong. Clear the old stories. Release the judgments. And you'll find your strength again. It's been there the whole time, waiting for you to let go of what's been blocking it.
Chapter 10. Build a mindset that doesn't break under stress. Life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't pause so you can catch your breath. It brings pressure, problems, and pain, whether you like it or not. The real question is not whether life will test you. It's whether your mind will hold steady when it does.
Because when stress shows up, and it always does, some people shut down and others rise. The difference isn't intelligence or background or luck. The difference is mindset. A mindset that breaks under stress will always struggle, but a mindset that stays calm, clear, and steady, that mindset builds strength, even under pressure. You're not supposed to avoid stress completely. In fact, stress is often what pushes you to grow, but only if you know how to face it without falling apart. That starts with how you train your thinking. If your mind is fragile, it will crack the moment something doesn't go as planned. If your mind is scattered, stress will take over your entire day. If your mind is filled with fear, you'll retreat every time life demands more from you. But if you build a mind that knows how to stay centered, you stop being thrown around by every challenge that shows up. A strong mindset doesn't come from avoiding hard things. It comes from doing them again and again. It comes from staying calm when you're frustrated, staying focused when things feel unfair, and showing up even when everything inside you wants to give up. That's not talent. That's practice. Every time you face discomfort and don't quit, your mind becomes harder to break. Every time you push through doubt without stopping, you create a new standard for yourself. Most people crack under pressure because they've never trained for it. They've lived too long in comfort. They avoid conflict. They run from mistakes. They wait until everything feels right. But life doesn't reward that mindset. Life rewards the ones who can keep thinking clearly when everything feels chaotic. The ones who don't lose themselves when plans fall apart. That kind of mental stability comes from decisions you make every day. When something stressful happens, what's your first reaction? Do you panic? Do you blame? Do you shut down? These are signs that your mind needs strengthening. A strong mindset doesn't react emotionally to everything. It observes first. It asks, what can I control right now? It doesn't waste energy fighting things that can't be changed. It focuses on action, not overthinking. You build this mindset by choosing how to respond in small moments. When you're running late and traffic builds up, do you explode or do you breathe and adjust? When someone criticizes you, do you defend yourself with anger or do you stay composed and think through it? When you're overwhelmed, do you avoid everything or do you break it into parts and start small? These everyday choices are where strength is built. Not in theory, but in action. Mental toughness is not about pretending you don't feel pressure. It's about not letting that pressure break your focus. It's knowing that emotions will come, but they don't have to control your next move. It's learning how to sit with discomfort and still make wise decisions. You won't always feel strong, but you can always act strong. That's where growth begins. A big part of building a mindset that doesn't break is learning to manage your thoughts under stress. Your mind will race. It will throw worst-case scenarios at you. It will tell you to give up, but you don't have to believe it. You can stop. Breathe. Question those thoughts and choose a new one. One that says, this is hard, but I'm still capable. One that says, I've made it through worse. One that says, right now I need to focus on one step forward. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait to feel ready. Learn to take action while stress is present. That's the skill. Anyone can act when life is easy. But when things get messy and uncertain, that's when you see who's trained their mind and who hasn't. Be the person who keeps going even when it's uncomfortable. Be the one who leads yourself through the storm. And don't think strength means being emotionless. You can feel tired. You can feel frustrated. You can even cry if you need to. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. What makes you strong is your ability to keep showing up with clarity, to keep moving forward, without letting those emotions make your decisions for you. You also have to stop expecting life to be smooth. That's one reason people get overwhelmed. They think stress means something is wrong, but stress is part of the process. It's a sign that you're stretching, that you're growing, that you're stepping into more responsibility. If you reframe it that way, it stops feeling like an enemy. It becomes a signal, a challenge you're capable of meeting, not something you have to escape. Start preparing your mind daily. Don't wait for stress to show up before you build the habits that protect you from breaking. Spend time in silence. Reflect on what matters most. Build routines that give you control over your energy. Learn how to pause before reacting. Practice thinking through pressure, even in small things. That way, when life hits hard, and it will, you're not shaken. You've already trained for this. Strong people don't avoid difficulty. They've just faced it enough times to know it won't destroy them. You can have that same strength. You just need to stop running from challenges and start using them as your training ground. Each time you handle stress with a calm mind, you gain a little more power, and over time, that adds up to a mindset that can't be broken. You won't always have perfect answers. Sometimes you'll make mistakes. Sometimes you'll feel lost. That's okay. Strength doesn't mean never falling. It means standing back up with more wisdom. It means not quitting on yourself just because things are harder than you expected. It means learning how to lead your thoughts instead of being dragged around by them. A mind that doesn't break under stress is one that's built on values, not moods. You don't do what feels good. You do what's right. You don't act out of panic. You act with purpose. You don't depend on everything going smoothly. You prepare to adapt. You prepare to lead yourself when it's hard, and that mindset will carry you further than any talent or opportunity ever could. Start acting like the person you want to become, not just when things are calm, but when the pressure is real. That's the test. That's the proof. That's when you show yourself what you're made of. Every time you stay steady under stress, you separate yourself from the old version of you. The one who used to crumble under pressure. The one who waited until life got easier. That version is gone. Now you lead. The life you want requires this kind of strength. It requires you to think clearly in chaos, to move forward through resistance, to keep your vision alive even when things go wrong. And all of that is built through choice. The choice to stop letting stress control your thinking. The choice to step up instead of shut down. The choice to build a mindset that holds strong, no matter what life throws at it. And that choice is always yours to make.